Hi everyone, Alexander Clark here. I am currently the night before the BPU Northern qualifier in Macclesfield and I'm just about to get some kip. Well, hopefully anyway, because I was led to believe when I booked this hotel that it had a quiet floor, that you could pay a few extra pounds to book on the quiet floor and not have your sleep disturbed, etc. However, they obviously didn't take into account the fact that this place is right near a noisy pub which seems to be kind of covering, you know, rock classics till late at night and maybe into the early hours of the morning. So I'll be a bit pissed off if I do not get to sleep because of that. However, so since last time I've vlogged, I remember saying that I wasn't feeling too great in myself and I wasn't super enthusiastic about the sport at the time, and I alluded to the fact that it may have been due to the supplementation I was taking running up to that comp, and now I can pretty much unequivocally say that that is true, and I'm actually feeling way better now on a physiological level, I'd say, not just psychologically. I didn't really have to do anything psychological. Honestly, I think it's kind of physiological, kind of I'm not fighting away as many negative thoughts and things, so that's brilliant. And to be honest, the person I have to thank for that is a guy who I'll be competing alongside tomorrow, Martin Brown. And Martin Brown's been a friend of mine for a good few years now. I got into powerlifting and he was super supportive from the start. I mean, I didn't know him. I met him really over in Trutnov when we competed at the European Championships together in 2014. Anyway, he's a really cool guy, very experienced and very wise when he gives his advice. So what had happened was, obviously I was feeling low and really crappy in terms of like my enthusiasm in general for life, and I told him that what I thought it might be, and then he said quite simply, he just said, look, if something's not working, stop it. And that's the type of advice that Martin gives. He doesn't go into like paragraphs and paragraphs of information. When I text him, he's just very to the point, but he always makes wise points, and it made so much sense to me. Like, it was just hearing it from someone else, saying, look, if something is not working, stop it. And I kind of, so many people can relate to that, but they don't do it. For example, people who are in relationships which are not working, but they refuse to put an end to them. People who are in jobs that are not working for them, they're not making them happy, that are destructive to them, but they refuse to put an end to it. So anyway, I put an end to what I thought was causing my malaise, and subsequently I started to feel a little bit better. However, there was something that I didn't account for, and a few days later, my appetite had been really bad, and a few days later, I began suffering more and more with acid reflux, which I'd been suffering with anyway, but it kind of got really bad to the point where I kind of had to, sit forward on my chair like this just to kind of get burps up and stuff. And one morning I was burping so frequently, I just was not comfortable whatsoever. And later on in the afternoon I ended up having to just kind of go and throw up to get it out of my system, and when I did, there were like fresh patches of blood in my puke, which according to the doctor that I saw the next day is not a huge problem. However, it's not something that you want, puking blood up, especially if it continues. So I think I was a bit under the weather anyway, but that kind of like signalled a kind of a telling sign to me that something was wrong, with my digestion and stuff like that. So I subsequently stopped something else which I thought wasn't working, and since then I've felt awesome. Switched everything up. I was a lot more motivated to train when I was training up to this competition. I'm a lot more motivated to kind of get things done in the competition tomorrow and stuff like that, and training's gone really well. I won't bore you with numbers and stuff, but I think I should have a good day, all being well. I spent the last couple of days down here in Macclesfield, probably spent a little bit more time than I needed to before the competition, but a really good carb up, you know, I've taken in close to 1,000 grams on each day. So hopefully we'll see some big numbers. I'm definitely thinking above 900 kilos with my total. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I'm looking forward to competing in my first full meet since the start of the year. That being squat, bench and deadlift. And I'm looking forward to competing against my buddy Martin Brown. I'll be able to see Matthew Beenham as well. Ben alluded to the fact that he might come up, Ben Staniforth. You know, these are all my good mates from powerlifting, and it's weird, like, it sounds really corny to call it a brotherhood, but it is. We're kind of all like brothers in iron, and it's really, really, really good to see them, because I don't see them very often. So I'll leave it there for the intro, and I'm going to try and get some sleep, and hopefully these awful covers have stopped.
Wow, come on!
So it's the day after the comp, and I've lost my voice a little bit. This is the first time I've actually ever lost my voice. It feels pretty weird, genuinely, not being able to speak properly. However, so just to kind of recount the whole comp, I was feeling really, really good the night before, as you could probably tell by the previous recording. However, pretty much 2 hours after I kind of videoed that, I woke up feeling like sick, like I needed to be sick, just not right. Puked up, went back to bed, only slept for about an hour, puked up again, and just kept like repeating that process throughout the night, to the point where when it was time to get up to compete in the morning, I just felt so lightheaded and awful, no appetite, no sense of motivation or aggression about the comp. Basically, like, you know, very feverish, basically how you feel when you're really, you know, under the weather and ill, you've got food poisoning or whatever, you know, fever and whatnot, and your body's basically saying, you know, get back to bed, you know, you need to recover. However, unfortunately, that wasn't really an option, because the comp was on that day, and there was nothing I could really do. So it was just a struggle getting out of the hotel, to be fair. My spirits did lift a bit when I got to the comp. I saw my friends Martin Brown, Matthew Beenham, Adam Brown, and a few other guys too. Got chatting to them, which was nice. It's always good to see them, because, as you know, I don't really see any of my friends from back home as much anymore. So, you know, I was considering pulling out, like, when I first woke up. And this is gonna sound really fucking cheesy, but like the main thing which made me not do it was, you know, I've got a son now. He's only 5.5 months old, but I guess if you think of me and you think of kind of what I do, the one thing you would probably associate me with is lifting, is powerlifting. So the way I saw it is, like, if I pull out of a comp at the very last minute,
just because I feel really shit. Like, what does that teach him about what type of person I am going forward in life? It doesn't set a very good example, does it? So, I mean, there are loads of other times in life whereby, you know, you could pussy out of things or not be very motivated. But for me, if it's powerlifting, I feel like I kind of have to give it everything. If I am thinking about setting an example for my son anyway. So anyway, that was kind of the main thing, which kind of made me think, you know what, even if you just set fucking qualifying totals for the British or whatever, just go and do that, just lift some token weights. And then as my spirits lifted, I said to Martin Brown, how about if I just do 2 lifts per event, i.e. squat, bench and deadlift, and just kind of leave it at that, so I've got more energy saved up for the end of the day. So I did my first squat 295, felt okay. Second squat 320, which was a PB in the first time I've ever squatted over 700 pounds. And then I called it after my second squat, and I said no more, I'll just have 2 lifts. And then, like, well, mine said, well, you could squat 325 and it's there, so you may as well. So kind of changed the plan at that point and took all 3 lifts, got 325. Same thing with bench, you know, the plan was changed then. So again, opened 207.5, 215, and then bench 220 for the first time I've ever benched 220 kilos, which is a huge milestone, because as people know, if you're in a gym and you're on a 20 kilo bar and you're using 20 kilo plates, it's a 5-plate bench, paused as well, you know, to competition standards. So that's something that you know, a lot of gyms these days don't have. A lot of gyms don't have a 5-plate bencher. And to say I started only bench pressing, seriously, my competition PB after probably 8 years of training when I started powerlifting was 155. Yeah, I've just put, you know, almost 70 kilos on my bench press. That's as an experienced lifter, I've put 70 kilos on my bench press, so I'm super happy about that. And it just kind of goes to show, like, even if you do have long arms like myself, you know, it doesn't mean you have to be a shit bencher. You just have to be diligent and quite cerebral in working out, you know, how to actually plan your training and program your training so that you can get there eventually. And then I think deadlifts was kind of where being ill, being under the weather and having no appetite, only having 3 fucking isotonic drinks as my food all day, showed, because I must have been really depleted by that point. I had diarrhea that day, and luckily Calla sorted me out with some Imodium, so I don't know what the point of me saying that was, but yeah, with the deadlifts, everything did feel really tough. In the warm-up room, stuff even felt tough. Opened on 315, pulled 355, which got me a 900 kilo total, which I was super happy about. And I think I only had another 5 kilos in me, but by that point all the pull was out of me, all the intensity was completely drained out of me, and I think as soon as I started to pull it, I just knew, and I just didn't put any effort in after that, which I don't think it's a mindset thing as such. I think it's one of those things, once all your adrenaline for something has gone, and it's almost like you've somehow internally taught yourself out of it. I think it's just game over sometimes, unfortunately, when you spend. But all in all, you know, a really good day. I totaled 900 when I was under the weather, so I'm gonna have a few days off now to basically just make sure that my immune system just gets back, get properly recovered, and so that I don't get ill again, because I've been ill twice now the space of 4 weeks. Anyway, you know, and another good thing was having Martin Brown there all day, and like he was the one who kind of like logically taught me into taking all 3 lifts, and probably if I hadn't taken that 3rd lift on the squat, I wouldn't have got my 900 kilo total. He has gone through bouts of depression, and I think his lifting suffered as a consequence over the past year or so. I'm just really glad that yesterday he squatted 340, so he's kind of back to his old self, and it was great to see him. And as I've said in the first part of this vlog, I have a lot to thank him for in terms of my lifting, and he's a great friend too, so it was amazing having him there on the day. And I've just arrived for my client and I need to get in, so I'm going to cut it short there. But cheers for watching, and I'll see you next time. Probably a vlog leading up to or around the Savage Pro, which is the 9th and 10th of December. Some of the best lifters in the UK, most of the best lifters in the UK actually, you know, all on one platform. So that's going to be a pretty amazing day. See you later.